Good morning. It's Thursday of the 6th week of Easter. This morning I'm in the inner sanctum. I'm in Jim Cole's office here in the old church hall across from my office. And Jim will be our interviewee for this day. But for now, let's look at the reading for today's Mass. The Gospel from John. Jesus said to his disciples, "A little while, and you will no longer see me. And again, a little while later, and you will see me." So some of his disciples said to one another, "What does this mean that he's saying to us, 'A little while, and you'll not see me, and again a little while, and you will see me'? And because I am going to the Father." So they said, "What is this little while of which you speak? We don't know what this means." Jesus knew they wanted to ask him, so he said to them, "Are you discussing with one another what I said? A little while, and you will not see me, and again a little while, and you will see me. Amen, amen, I say to you, you will weep and mourn, while the world rejoices. You will grieve, but your grief will become joy." This day would have been the Feast of the Ascension, but this year we're going to be celebrating the Ascension on the 7th Sunday of Easter, this Sunday. So that is why we're reading a reading that normally would not have been read. And it's important that we remember this because we're still in that anticipation with Christ being with us. We're still trying to glean as much, to take in as much as we can of having him in our midst before he goes back to the Father. And that's why we have that reading. We also have that reading to remind us that sometimes we have to be a little flexible. We have to be a little bit more open, especially in the time we're living. And that's why I chose to have Jim for this day, because Jim had to really become flexible in what's going on. He and I and Bridget and the others on the committees or who work here were anticipating going and celebrating a Mass today of Ascension and then preparing for our Mass for this weekend. But now we only have to do one and make it well, and that's going to be for the Sunday. But for now, let's talk about Jim. Jim, what have you been doing this past 10 weeks at home?
Same sorts of things everybody's doing. I stay in my cell most of the day. They let me out for meals, go to the cafeteria, an hour a day for exercise, though, that's good. Go to the yard, shoot hoops, lift weights, try to avoid the other gang members, that sort of thing. No, but I've been cooking more, like many of us have, because you really can't go out or go out much. Fortunately, just before this happened, we replaced our old 25-year-old electric stove that was really on its last legs anyway. So we got a new stove, new oven, converted to gas. So I've been doing that, making some things in that, baking. Mother's Day made a great coconut cake, made some apple crumb muffins. You should come over. It's really,
And by the way,
eating is good.
By the way, when he comes to work, do you think he'd bring any of this for us to, let's just say, test?
It might be contaminated. We don't want to take any chances.
Yeah, what that's called? Hoarding.
That's right. We don't hoard toilet paper. We hoard muffins. Mostly, though, I've been painting.
Oh.
It started small, like this one door to the TV room that's been looking a mess. Now would be a good time to do that. So started that. But then you look around and you see the walls around it. Well, now they need some paint, and now it's pretty much the whole house. Um, Ceilings that have had water damage for a long time. Seems like now's the time to do it. And everybody else also seems to be in Lowe's getting this paint. So I'm in painting hell right now. I don't know when that's going to end. I think the virus will end before painting this house ends.
And by the way, that will explain what those little specks are in the hair.
Yes, let's call it paint.
So it's not a little bit of your son, a little bit of your daughter, a little bit of your wife.
It's the ceiling dripping.
Yes.
Dripping down. One other thing, at least in the beginning, I tried to do a little more reading. I thought this would be a good time to do some of that. I think the painting's taken over. But did find a good website if anybody is looking for some good free reading material. If you've ever heard of Project Gutenberg.
No.
It's just gutenberg.org. And people have been inputting, I guess for a long time, texts of books in the public domain. So it's called Gutenberg, of course, after Steve Gutenberg,
right,
the actor. And no, after the inventor of the printing press. So I started with Tom Sawyer.
Oh, wow.
Had never read it, so I thought, okay, I'll do that. That was good. And then got into some bigger classics that let's just say I didn't get very far.
So you didn't do War and Peace yet?
No, not yet. I think the next one I tried was the Iliad.
Yes.
And maybe 40, 50 pages. That's enough. That's about it, though.
And this is from somebody who, like myself, has a degree in the arts.
Yeah.
That's
all the things we were supposed to read in high school and college.
Well, now's the time to read it when there's nothing else to do.
Right.
And you said you've been doing that for reading. What have you been doing for yourself spiritually during this time?
Well, for me, that happens within the work that I do, I would say. And that work has continued, as you know, right through all this, in some brand new ways, some ways that have changed, and some that haven't changed at all. You know, some of it just goes right on. Of course, we're still doing a Mass every week. That still needs to be prepared. I need to be practiced and ready to play everything for that. Need to prepare the cantors for that, and I just want to really thank all our cantors who've done a splendid job under very trying circumstances, coming in and doing this new format with everything. Some of the new things have been, well, preparing for what will be the first phase whenever we go back, not go back, but go forward with how this will all be implemented, attending webinars, reading whatever material I can read on that, and yeah, things like that.
So, you, like myself, are people that work with people constantly. You constantly, with the choirs of all sizes, from the adults to the bells to the instrumentalists, cantors. What is it like for you without it? What has your life been like? What is it here?
It's very strange. Yeah, I definitely miss the interaction with all of our music ministers the most. And certainly our adult choir, because they rehearse every week, they sing every week, so that's been a big hole, I think, in everyone's experience. But you're right, all of the ministers, the ringers, singers, all the instrumentalists, it's very strange. I mean, at least we have some technology where we can email and text. The adult choir has been getting together online, on Zoom, just socially. We've done it a few times. The first time was new for me and new for most of us. So we spent most of the 40 minutes just trying to figure out, how to turn a microphone on and things like that. On Sunday, we met and we used a game format, sort of like a $100,000 pyramid. So we split up into teams, and one person had a word, and their team had to guess the word. So that was fun. So we're trying to mix it up.
So it isn't that you go into a depression. You've been able to go and work with it.
Trying to. I remember, though, on the day we taped the Mass for Easter Sunday, coming back, and at that point I was feeling a big disconnect with all the music ministry, and just needing to email everybody and say, hey, we just taped this and watch for it, it's going to be out. But especially that day, even though it was everything you needed in any Mass, in Easter Mass, it was void of everything that makes it special. I think that's when I really felt it the most, that missing everyone.
Exactly. And I think missing everyone is part of what we're all feeling at this point. And it doesn't mean that it's only for the music people, the liturgical ministers, the catechists. I think every one of us is missing each other. So we ask that you stay tuned now for a special announcement.